All right, we are ready to go for a Thursday morning edition, or at least that's Eastern time, of the Prime Sports Horse Report here on Prime Sports Network YouTube channel. Jon Hardoon, of course, from the Sheets, joining us as always. John, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. Very good. After a really good week we all had last week, including Mr. Chad Summers, who you won't be able to see, but you will be able to hear because he is not here in the U.S. Where are you, Chad?
I'm about an hour and a half east of Ascot.
Hour and a half. Okay. So,
So where is that?
yeah, where is that?
I'm in the
England?
city of London.
London. Okay.
Oh, is it
Now we
raining?
know.
Yes. Yeah. It's been raining all day. It's been raining all day. It just stopped
No.
raining.
What are you doing in London there, Chad? What's the deal?
I have a layover from coming back from Dubai. I was in Dubai yesterday. Had a meeting with the ownership group of Clapton, who have confirmed that we're going to take a run at the British Cup Classic.
Whoa! Breaking news. Congrats. Congrats.
So now we got to see if we have some defections. We got to see how the race shapes up, and of course he has to take us there. I'll have a big workout next Tuesday, and we'll make a final decision before we ship out. That everything has to be perfect to take in the tempo. We're gonna point that way right now.
And the name of the horse?
Clapton.
It's gonna again. This is going to be new, and the reason why this is going to be new is because we have not um, shared the video the last 2 weeks on YouTube, and because of that, you guys have missed an awful lot of winning racing, including Clapton, Chad's horse winning a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, this is gonna go on YouTube for the first time in a couple of weeks. So if you missed out, sorry about that. That's why you have to subscribe on Patreon for $5 a month. And yeah, you missed a big one with Clapton a few weeks ago. So
How about
congrat.
Arzak last week at $25?
Yeah,
You missed that too.
last week was a big week. All three races. We had a bonus race. We hit on all three races, as John mentioned. We hit on Arzak in that sixth race, which was a $25 horse, as John mentioned. I hit the exacta, which was a $62 exacta box. The ninth race, uh, the 9 won, and we all had the 9. Who was the 9 in that one? That was Locked. Okay. So Locked won that one. And we also hit actually, you guys hit the exacta, the 9-1. And then in the 10th race, um, that was a photo 5-1. That was a really that was the most exciting of the races, that 10th race, the 5-1 photo between Up the Mark and Master of the Seas. So yeah, the two favorites winning there. John had the exacta in that one. He had the 9 with the 1, 4, and 5. So anyway, you missed out on that. Those were all winners. So hopefully we'll be able to keep the streak alive here on today's show. We're going to be doing 2 races from Keeneland. And let's get started, first of all, with race number 9, the Queen Elizabeth Challenge Cup. This is a 1.125 miles on turf. You have 2 heavy favorites in the race. You have the 2 Elusive Princess and the 4 Mauge. And you also have, I think, John, some very interesting long shots, like the 5 Be Your Best. The 9 is also a good one, maybe Heavenly Sunday, and the 11 Prerequisite. But that's me. What do you think about this race and those 2 favorites, John?
Well, I mean, the favorites, they're okay, but they're not better than other horses in the race off of the numbers that are obviously listed at a lot longer prices than they are. So I would be shopping for some value here. I agree with you on the 5 Be Your Best. He's actually going to be my top pick. This is an
Oh,
improving 3-year-old from the Horatio de Paz barn, and she's listed at a ridiculous 20 to 1 on the morning line. I like this horse in this spot, and she's certainly worth a play.
Chad?
Chad is on delay, I guess. Do you hear him, Greg?
No.
Me neither.
Chad.
Chad. He's going to hear you in
Hey,
England.
we can actually see him now. Actually, though,
Yeah.
there's a bonus.
Hold up fingers, Chad. 4, 5, 6.
Oh man.
Nothing
Hey, Chad,
else.
if you hear us, you might want to hang up
Give
and
us
call
a
right
thumbs
back
up.
because this can't be any worse of a connection, I guess. There you
Yeah,
go.
he heard us.
All right. So we're going to get him going. Anyway, yeah, talk about, because that 5, John, what really jumped out for me was the fact that the best 2 races were actually at the same distance, 1 mile and 1/8. 2 of those last 3 races were 11s. That's the best we've seen from Be Your Best. And those were also in grade 1 and grade 2 races. So like you said, to be able to get 20 to 1 with what we see there, that's a pretty good bargain.
Yeah, and the bad race in between the last race and the third race was 1.25 mile race, so you could certainly throw that race out. You know, had an excuse, and she was coming off of a top. Listen, at 20 to 1, it's a no-brainer. Chad, you hear us?
I hear you, hear me.
Okay, good. Yep. We are now locked in with Chad. So go right ahead, Chad. What do you think about what we were talking about with this 9th race?
No, look, Be Your Best and Nice Philly. They've always thought highly of her. She ran in the juvenile Philly turf as a 2-year-old. But this is a good group of international runners like the QE2 used to be. And you guys cannot sell short Maj. Maj is a freak of nature. It's probably the best horse Saban Store's had the last 5 or 6 years, probably since Thunder Snow. And just, I mean, I think she breathes a different air. And she's just special. She when she turns for home and she got that kick, I mean, she's scared good.
Yeah, she ran a 9 last time out. Got 3 straight wins coming in. That's why when you have to choose between the 2 favorites, Maj and the 2, Elusive Princess. Elusive Princess has a 12 last time out. That was with Pratt on board at Saratoga, John. But again, that's a big difference between a 12 and a 9 last time out. And then that 9 was in May. So not worried about a bounce.
No, I mean, it's, the horse. Well, the horse was last seen in Saratoga. Gets a barn switch. Goes for Arnaud Delacour for the first time. Listen, Chad's horse is fine. 5 for 8 lifetime with a second and a third. So the horse missed the board once in her life. She's earned close to 700,000. So he knows how good these Europeans are. Obviously, we respect his opinion.
It's impossible though to possibly give a number to that filly that ran as well. They canceled racing after the race was over. That race was run on an absolute bog at Saratoga. I mean, the fact that they finished the race, you should have got a 0. I mean, it's a joke. You can't. I understand you have to give numbers for every race, but that race should not be given a number. It was an impossible race, and she was able to, see it through. And she's a nice filly, and this was their plan all along to skip the third leg and shorten her up and transfer to Arnold Delacour. But she's a nice filly. But you can't possibly look at that 12 and compare it to anything else because they literally canceled racing after that race was over.
The problem I have with that horse, Chad, is she's only run on soft turf. She's never run on any kind of firm turf, so we don't know that she could handle it. That's all I'm saying. If you look, every race in her career, soft turf, soft turf, soft turf, soft turf, soft turf. So she's going to get more firmer going. Who knows if she'll like it? Maybe she'll move forward off of it. I don't know.
As far as some other long shots, John and I both talked about the 5, Be Your Best. I also mentioned the 9 and the 11, Heavenly Sunday and Prerequisite. Do you have any long shots in the field you want to try to make some money on here with the Ford, Chad?
No. I think this is Maj's race. Heavenly Sunday is a cool filly. She's had a long campaign this year. She always seems to show up and just come up a little bit short, but she's had a really, really long year. She's been going all year long. I'm not going to get cute here. I'm not going to try and play an exacta, trifecta, superfecta. I'm just going to take Mars.
Okay. John, you were going to go with the 5 over.
I'm king of the 5 in exactas for first and second with the 2, Elusive Princess, the 4, Maj, and The 9, Heavenly Sunday. 5 with 2, 4, 9, first and second.
Yeah, again, that 9 Heavenly Sunday was improving nicely the first 4 races. The last race was actually the bad race, so we're willing to forgive her for that one bad race, John, because the first 6 races of her career were all in the money and the sheets were on the right track, and you're getting a big number. And then the 11, the reason I threw her in there, obviously you've got Chad Brown and Irad Ortiz combo. Only 5 races in her career, but she's 2 for 2 at the distance. And her numbers aren't that bad at this stage of her career. She's also, of course, got the 2 distance, and one of them was a grade 2 win at Belmont. So, again, it's a big number. It's a good combo, and that's what we're trying to do is make some money here with the favorite. So I'll go 4 over 5, 9, 11, and that's it for race number 9. This is, of course, going to be the big one, probably of the entire day in thoroughbred racing. Let's talk about the next race. So if you want to try to hit some doubles, we're going to talk about race number 10 at Keeneland. And you've got the heavy favorite, the clear favorite, First Mission, the even money favorite, the Brad Cox trained horse, First Mission, John. 3 races at 10, 10, and 9. Okay, that's nice. There's nothing wrong with this horse, but even money.
Yeah, that's the problem. She does go back on LASIK, so that certainly can't hurt her. She's coming off of a layoff. Cox, I'm sure, is very high on the horse. But if you're looking at sheets, you should try to beat this horse. I think the 7, Cook Creek, is an interesting horse here. This horse was gelded since his last race back in June for Jeremiah O'Dwyer. Rosario takes the mount. You're getting 8-1, and off the numbers, this horse certainly figures, and that's the horse that I would be keying at the price. I understand the 1's the horse to beat, but I think the 7 at the price is the horse to play.
Chad?
Well, the reason I wanted to do this race is while the QE2 might be the race of the day, this is the horse of the day, the week, the month, the year. First Mission was going into the Preakness as hot as any horse. Unfortunately, wasn't able to start and needed some time away on the bench. But I've gotten a chance to watch this horse breathe at Churchill when I was down there with Clapton, and he just breathes a different air. I think he wins this race by open lens. I think there's a chance he might be the best horse that Brad Cox has ever trained.
Wow.
And
Whoa.
you can take that with whatever you want. And I know there's other horses. I know he's off the layoff. But this horse, it's funny. He won with Idiomatic, the Grade 1 Spinster, on Sunday, and he said that she would freak in the winner's circle after the race. Well, this horse is a freak too, so I guess it's Freaky Saturday.
Well, you could play your double Mosh to First Mission and get like $3.
I'm sure Team Blue will be in attendance as Godolphin continues their assault here on trying to win the Eclipse Award for leading owner again, and they deserve it.
Yeah, let's talk about some other horses in the field. The 3 Gano, a 20-1 shot. It's coming off a wire-to-wire win at this distance, and it was actually the best sheet number of his career. That was a 13. That was actually just last month. And if you look at it, the sheets have actually on dirt gone in his favor. Those 4 races, 20, 18, 15, 13. So that's not bad for a 20-1 shot, John. You mentioned the 7, Cook Creek, who ran a 6 in May. Now, the horse has gone opposite sheets since then, so you're not concerned with that.
Well, he went opposite because he bounced off the 6. So, I mean, and where did he go? He only backed up a couple of points, and now he's been gelded. He's going to come back and run the best race he's ever run. Who else in the race has ever run a 6?
Yeah,
nobody.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the 1 can't run a 6. The 1 could run any number off of the layoff. I get it. But I'm betting an 8-1 shot. And as far as your Gano is concerned, well, he's like 7 other horses in the race. A 13 is not going to do it. You need a single digit here. You need a single digit. So unless you're projecting a single digit on that horse, I don't think so. I mean, even the 8, Akil, what's wrong with him?
That's just one horse. I had 4 others I was going to talk about.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So, I'm just, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just pointing it out.
Well, the other and the other horse that had a 6 is Roman Centurion, but that was last year. And then after the 6, that really must have put a dent in the horse because you went away for a while.
Yeah, and she was used to be trained by Brad Cox, and now it's Sarah Hamilton. Take nothing away from Sarah Hamilton, but she's certainly no Brad Cox.
The horse has 3 10s in the last 6 on dirt. But yeah, at least you're getting 20 to 1. The 8, Sequel, 7 of 8 in the money this year. That's nice. An 8 couple of starts ago. Matter of fact, this horse in those 7 out of 8 in the money this year has been between 8 and 11 on the sheets 5 times. So what about Sequel, John?
I was using her with with my key horses. I was going 7 with 1 and 8, and
Okay.
obviously reversing and the main punch should be 1 7 7 1.
And then the other two I wanted to point out was the 10 Creative Minister ran a 7 here at Keeneland in April, finished second in that race. This horse was in the Triple Crown last year, and has got Hernandez on board. And then the other horse I just wanted to point out was Implementation, a long shot. Um, what's the deal with the distance here on this horse, or the difference in distance? Because it ran at Keeneland last year, ran a 14, won the race. Actually, at this time, same time this year, last year, October, won the race at Keeneland, and then after that went to 6.5 furlongs the next 3 races.
Yeah, he's been sprinting after running long, and he's also Safi Joseph had him the last 2 races. Wesley Ward and Brad Cox has had him before. So this horse has had nothing but great trainers all the way through.
So there's no other horses you want to mention or talk about for any reason, Chad, even if you don't want to put a bet on them?
No, look, Sakil would be the only one. Sakil's in good form. Christian Torres is a good young jockey. He's a hungry jockey. I'm interested to see how many trainers scratch. I'm not sure that a lot of people knew that First Mission was going to run this race. And we'll see if there's some scratches. I think there will be. But Sakil would be the other horse. But I'm Team Kobe.
Okay. So again, Chad's going all in on the 1 First Mission. John, get your exact pick here.
7 with 1 and 8.
7 with 1 and 8. I'll do 1 with 7, 8, 10, and that's going to wrap it up. Chad, I appreciate, of course, you taking your time overseas to put this together as best you can. Next week, I believe we do have a grade 2 at Keeneland. Maybe that's where we'll be. And there's what's FH?
FH?
Yeah, what is that? Is that a week track or something?
Yeah.
American Grand National. What is that? Is that like
that's a jumping race?
The jumping races. Okay.
The steeplechase.
Steeplechases. Yeah, we won't be doing that.
Let's do the jumping race. Let's do the jumping race at Far Hill.
What's that?
Let's do the jumping race.
The jumping race. Yes. Yeah. That'll be quite a show.
They make seats for that?
No. Chad, have a safe trip back, Chad.
Thanks, Chad. See you next week. Thanks,
See you,
John.
Greg.
Take care. And want to remind everybody, hopefully this worked out okay. I won't know until I listen, obviously, to the recording. But again, just got to understand Chad is overseas, so we did the best we could. Hopefully the sound came through okay. I'm just going to recap the picks here. So for race number 9, which was the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup, Chad went with the 4, Mauge. Matter of fact, again, Chad went with the 2 favorites, which is a little unusual. But hey, you know what? If they both win, it's all that matters. Chad goes with the 1 First Mission in the 10th. John, in race number 9, goes with the 5 over 249. So John is going to go with the 5. Be Your Best. We talked about that horse, the 20-1 shot. And the 249 will run out his exacta. And I'm going to go 4, 5, 9, 11. 4 is my top horse, Mauge. So yeah, I'm going to go right there with Chad. But I'm trying to make some money with the heavy favorite, and that's why I'm putting the 5, 9, and 11 in the mix there. Again, the 9 Heavenly Sunday mentioned talked a little bit about why I like that horse, the Brad Cox horse, and prerequisite, the Chad Brown horse. Also talked a little bit about why I like that one. Race number 10, John went 7 over 1/8, so he is going to go Cook Creek. Now, Cook Creek, the Rosario ridden horse, again, ran the 6 in March. That was at Gulfstream. Finished second in that race. 9, 12, and 13. Those are the following 3 races. John gave you his reason why he likes Cook Creek, and you get an 8 to 1. And I'm putting Cook Creek in there as well. Sakil, again, as I mentioned, that's also going to be in my mix. I gave you the reasons: 7 of 8 in the money this year, and the sheets between 8 and 11, 5 of those times. So I think that shows you Sakil is pretty consistent. You're getting 10 to 1, and an 8 was just a couple of starts ago at Saratoga, and then I rounded it out with the 10. And the 10 horse is Creative Minister. Again, Creative Minister ran in in Triple Crown races last year, finishing 5th and 3rd. Actually ran a 9 in the Preakness, a 12 in the Belmont, and has been pretty consistent. If you throw out the Parks race, the Grade 3 race, where he finished 3rd and had an 18, if you throw that out, he's been pretty consistent. Again, we mentioned the 9, but he's had a 7, he's had a 9, he's had an 11, he's had some 12s, so that's not too bad. He's had a win at Keeneland. He's had a couple of wins at this distance. Matter of fact, the Keeneland, the last Keeneland start was a 7, and that was in April. 9 and 12 since then, but you're talking about a 4-year-old, so I'm not too worried about the horse going in the wrong direction. And by the way, the other horse I did mention that. But I didn't put it in my picks because I'm not going to do more than 3 with the favorite. But I will also put money on implementation. I am a little bit concerned with the distance deal, but fact is, the last time, as I mentioned, the last time this horse was at 1 mile and a 16th was at Keeneland, same time of year. It was, as you can see on the form, it was October 27th of last year, so the same, just almost the same. It's almost 365 days ago, nearly. So going back to that strategy in this race, that's why I'm willing to forgive or try to understand the 3 short distance races. And look, if you look at the sheets, had a 14 in the win at Keeneland last year. And then the most recent dirt race, the one at 6.5 furlongs, was an 11. So that's not that bad. Matter of fact, this horse had, as you can tell, this horse won 4 times, and he's got 4 straight wins, and he has 4 wins with 4 different jockeys. So Gaffleone is going to be the first to go back to back. So I don't know, maybe that's a jinx, but look, I think at 20 to 1, why not? And that's the reason why I am going with some of those long shots, and hopefully the long shots will come in. And as we mentioned, as we wrap up here, we did not post the races on YouTube the last couple of weeks, and we are not always going to post them on YouTube. That's why you need to become a Patreon member for as little as $5 a month. That's it, $5 a month. No tricks. It's not going to be something where you're going to regret it because you're going to be getting inundated with emails and something's going to happen to your card, or I'm not going to do all that for $5. That's old way thinking. It's simple. You can cancel at any time. If you put $5 in, you get a month's worth of programming. You don't like it for whatever reason, you just don't want to do it anymore. Boom, done. Cancel. $5 investment, over with. But again, considering the amount of winning action that we've been able to produce every week on this show, and for the $5 investment a month, I mean, really, that's $60 a year. And just the last 2 weeks, you missed out on making more than $60 based on the winning horses that we gave last week. Matter of fact, last week we briefly went over. It was the Woodford, the Grade 2 Woodford, and in that race, John and I talked about Arzak, who actually went off about 13 to 1, 12 to 1, 14 to 1 in that range. And Arzak, we talked about the previous 3 races on the sheets were a 10, a 9, and a 7. So obviously we were like, well, come on. I mean, this is a sheet horse. This is perfect. We're getting 15 to 1, no brainer. So that worked out. And then it was kind of funny because I was I have this post game show, football show that I host for another channel, a Rutgers football channel. And so the Rutgers football game was over, and I was getting ready for the post game show live, by the way. So it was a live post game show, and the live post game show was going on 3 minutes or 4 minutes after post time of this race, the 6th race. So as soon as the race is over, I'm like, yeah, I got the winner. Nice payout. Yeah, awesome. And I looked, and the announcer said, who was it? The announcer said something about Beer Can Man, I believe. Was that, hey, Beer Can Man, looks like Beer Can Man got it for second. And I was blocked. I didn't even know who the inside horse was because it was blocked. And I heard Beer Can Man, and you see official or unofficial, and it said, 511. So I was like, oh, well, that would have been nice. But I just got the win still. Okay. And I just quickly did my show. So I come back and I checked. I was ready to start placing wagers on after doing the post game show for about an hour. And I was ready to do the races, like race 9, whenever that was. That was whatever. That was about an hour and a half after race 6. So it was just about the perfect timing. I go to my account. I'm about to put it in, and I see a number on my account that's completely larger than I thought it should have been. I'm like, why do I have this much money in my account? And so I go, well, it had to be the horse race. Did somebody get disqualified? So I went back into the race and I looked at the replay, and sure enough, the 8 horse, which I had in the exacta R shot, had nipped the 11 for second. And so I was able to hit the exacta, which was, again, as I mentioned, 62 on a dollar and over 125, I guess, 124 on a $2 exacta. So that was awesome. Love those when you don't expect it. And then again, race 9 from last week. That race was the Claiborne Bridges Futurity. That was the Grade 1 race. And that was the one where John, actually, we all had the 9. John and Chad had the exactas. Locked was the 7 to 5 Pletcher horse, and Locked came in first, and the Wine Steward was the runner-up. They both had the 1, the 9-1 exacta. So that was a win. And then again, the 10th race, which was the Coolmore Turf Mile. In that one, it was a 5-1 photo of the 2 favorites up to the mark and Master of the Seas. And the 5 got the win up to the mark. And John had the exact in that one as part of his wager. So win, win, win. With a $25 horse in the first one. My exacta, and you never want to pay attention to my bets compared to those guys, but anytime I could add some winning to the show, it's always awesome. And that's why it was a big day. And again, the previous week, Clapton coming through, a nice payday as well with Clapton, Chad's horse. So you missed that. So there's been a lot of winning that you've missed the last few weeks because you are not a Patreon member. So I hope that the recording was sufficient so it could play nicely on YouTube. And if so, welcome back. But again, if you want to pay attention to every single comment, every analysis, because the other thing you have to recall is what we talked about, is that we don't provide the entire show. Only Patreon members get the entire show. We rebroadcast. We will put the recording of the show on YouTube on Saturdays. Of course, everything is posted on Thursdays for Patreon right away. We record it on Thursdays. They get it 2.5 days in advance, 2 days in advance. But YouTube only gets it not only on Saturday, but also probably about 25% on average is cut out. And it's it's the open of the show. So usually that open will talk about a whole bunch of things related to whatever, but it's always going to be informative uh, stuff that you don't want to miss because Chad is a professional trainer. Jon is a successful professional handicapper, and these guys are always going to talk about a whole bunch of things that you don't want to miss, and that is only available on Patreon. So check it out. It's just $5 a month. Can't emphasize that anymore. You don't want to do it anymore. Just decline and you move on. Use that $5 somewhere else. So anyway, we appreciate anybody, including all of our viewers on Patreon, for checking in. If you have any questions for Jon or Chad as well, you can either put it on YouTube, the comment section, or on our Discord. We have a Discord channel. We put it in the description area, the link for that. That's free. Okay, that's completely free. You sign up on Discord and you can just ask Jon and Chad anything you want. And you can ask them anytime. It could be on Saturday. It could be between Thursday's show and post time. Something happens in the race, something changes, and you want their opinion on that. Go to Discord, let them know, and they will be happy to answer your question before the race. Especially Jon, because he's handicapping and sitting there watching the races all day long. Chad, depending on when you ask the question, if it's race day, might not be able to get back to you in time, but I send the question out to him. He'll get back and let you know what he thinks about your question. So can't tell you enough about how it is, how valuable it is to have Chad and Jon on this channel, and that you can tune in and get their expertise for free on YouTube. Okay, not as much of a bonus as you would though if you just spend $5 a month on Patreon. But either way, it's a win-win situation. Next week, it looks like we'll be doing the steeplechase. No, next week we're going to do hopefully the Lexus Raven Run Stakes. That's at Keeneland. There's another stakes race at Keeneland as well. There is a grade 3. Well, we're not going to do Woodbine. There are stakes races at Gulfstream, so we'll potentially look into that. But I'd probably venture to say that Keeneland is where we're going to wind up going again on next week's show. For Jon Hardoon, again, for Chad Summers, appreciate him doing this overseas. We'll see you guys next week.